You are standing at a fruit stall when one fruit stops you cold. It is huge, rough, and covered in green spikes. Its smell reaches you before you even touch it. Then you see the label, jackfruit. And suddenly, the strangest thing about it is not where it came from or how to eat it. It is the name. Most fruits sound as if they were named for their color, their shape, or the place they came from. But jackfruit sounds personal, almost as if someone named Jack once left his mark on it. So who was Jack? And why does this fruit carry a name that sounds so human? Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. What jackfruit actually is. Jackfruit is the fruit of a tree called Artocarpus heterophyllus, a species native to South and Southeast Asia. It is famous for one remarkable fact. It is the largest fruit in the world that grows on a tree. Some can weigh more than 35 kilograms and stretch beyond half a meter in length. On the outside, jackfruit looks almost armored, with a thick green skin and a rough surface covered in spikes. On the inside, it is completely different. Cut one open and you find dozens, sometimes even hundreds, of yellow pods packed inside. When ripe, those pods are sweet, fragrant, and often described as tasting like a mix of banana, pineapple, and mango. In countries like India, Thailand, and the Philippines, jackfruit has been part of everyday food culture for centuries. In the Philippines, it is commonly called langka and often appears in desserts like halo-halo or sweet preserves. So the fruit itself is not unusual in Asia. The more unusual thing is the English name attached to it. Before jackfruit there was Chakka. The story does not begin in English. It begins in southern India, especially in Kerala, where Malayalam has been spoken for centuries. In that language, jackfruit had long been known as Chakka. That is the real starting point of the name. There was no mysterious man named Jack behind it, no inventor, no explorer honored through a fruit, just a local word that had already been part of daily life for generations. That is what makes the name so interesting. Once a word becomes familiar in English, we stop hearing how unusual it really is. We forget that it may once have sounded completely different in another place, in another language, and in another mouth. Jackfruit is exactly that kind of word. Before it appeared on labels and in dictionaries, it was simply Chakka, a native name rooted in a region where the fruit had been known, grown, and eaten for a very long time. But how did Chakka become jackfruit? The answer begins when Europeans first reached the Indian coast. How Chakka became Jaca. In the late 15th century, Portuguese traders arrived on the Malabar coast of India. There, they encountered this huge, unusual fruit and picked up the local name along with it. But borrowed words rarely stay perfectly intact. A word that moves from local speech into foreign ears is almost always reshaped a little along the way. That is what happened here. Chakka gradually became Jaca in Portuguese pronunciation and writing. The core of the word remained, but the sound shifted to fit the habits of a different language. No one sat down and formally renamed the fruit. The change happened more naturally than that. People heard the word, repeated it, wrote it down, passed it on, and over time the new version settled in. That small shift mattered. Once Chakka became Jaca, the name of the fruit had begun to move out of Malayalam and into the wider world of European trade and description. But Jaca was still not jackfruit. The version we know today only appeared when Europeans began writing about the fruit for readers back home. When European writers added fruit. After Jaca entered Portuguese usage, European travelers, writers, and scholars began describing the fruit for readers back home. And when they did, they often added the word fruit at the end, simply to make clear what kind of thing they were talking about. Over time, that helped shape the English form jackfruit. One notable early record appears in 1563 in the work of Garcia de Horta, a Portuguese physician and naturalist who wrote about the plants and medicinal substances of India. References like his helped introduce both the fruit and its evolving name to European audiences. From there, the word spread the same way many things did in that era, through travel accounts, botanical writing, and trade routes. By the 17th and 18th centuries, jackfruit had become the familiar English name. so the name did not appear in one clean moment. It was assembled slowly through hearing, speaking, writing, and movement across the world. The theory that sounds right, but isn't. There is one explanation that sounds tempting at first. Some people have wondered whether jackfruit was named after William Jack, a Scottish botanist who worked in Southeast Asia in the early 19th century. On the surface, that seems plausible. Many plants really have been named after real people. But there is one major problem. The timeline does not fit. The word jackfruit was already being used in the 16th century, well over 100 years before William Jack was born. So while the coincidence is easy to notice, most historians and linguists do not accept that theory. William Jack may have studied plants in Asia, but he almost certainly did not give jackfruit its name, which means Jack and jackfruit was almost certainly never a person at all. A small word with a big history. Once that human explanation falls away, the real answer becomes more interesting. Jackfruit is not just the name of a fruit. It is the trace of a much larger pattern. When Europeans reached Asia during the Age of Exploration, they encountered countless plants, spices, and foods that had never had established names in English. In many cases, they did not invent entirely new words. They borrowed local ones, but those borrowed words rarely traveled in a straight line. They often passed through several languages first, and each step changed the sound a little. That is why a word that began in one place can end up looking and sounding very different somewhere else. Chakka became Jaca, and later, jackfruit. What sounds ordinary now is really the result of language moving along the same routes as ships, merchants, and empire. And jackfruit is not alone. Words like mango, teak, and curry also carry traces of cultural contact. So the name jackfruit is really a linguistic souvenir, a small reminder that when cultures meet, even everyday words can become records of history. But the story of jackfruit does not end with its name. The fruit itself has gone on to live another life in modern food. From sweet fruit to meat substitute. For a long time, jackfruit was known mainly as a sweet, fragrant fruit, filled with soft yellow pods and a smell strong enough to fill a room. But today, it is famous for something else as well. When jackfruit is still unripe, its flesh is fibrous, dense, and surprisingly meat-like in texture. That is why it has become popular in vegetarian and plant-based cooking. Chefs use young jackfruit in tacos, sandwiches, curries, and dishes that would otherwise rely on pulled pork or chicken. Part of its appeal is its mild flavor. Unripe jackfruit absorbs spices, sauces, and seasonings easily, which lets it take on bold, savory flavors without fighting them. And beyond texture, it also offers fiber, vitamin C, and potassium. So jackfruit has done something unusual twice. Its name traveled across languages, and now its role has expanded across cuisines. But if you return to the fruit stall, most people still meet it first as fruit. And then the most practical question becomes the simplest one. How do you choose a good one? The 5-second jackfruit rule. If you only have 5 seconds at the fruit stall, remember 3 quick checks. Look, smell, and press lightly. First, look at the skin. A good jackfruit usually does not look sharply green and hard. The spikes should appear a little broader and less stiff, which often suggests ripeness. Next, smell it. You want a clear, sweet aroma, not a harsh smell that feels overly fermented. Then, press it lightly. The surface should give a little under your hand. If it feels rock hard, it may not be ready. If it feels too soft, it may be past its best. That is it. In 5 seconds, your eyes check the skin, your nose checks the aroma, and your hand checks the firmness. And just like that, the story returns to where it began. The fruit stall in front of you. The name that traveled half the world. So if we go back to that stall and ask the question again, who was Jack? The answer turns out to be much more interesting than a person. There was no forgotten man named Jack behind this fruit. Instead, there was a word that traveled. A fruit long familiar across Asia carried an older name, Chakka, in southern India. Through trade and contact, that word shifted into Jaca, and in time it settled into English as jackfruit. What sounded at first like a person's name was really the worn, reshaped edge of language moving across centuries, and maybe that is the most beautiful part of the story. History does not always live in monuments, wars, or kings. Sometimes it hides in something as ordinary as a fruit label in a market. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden history behind simple things, subscribe to the channel and join us for more stories like this. And before watching this video, did you think Jack was a real person? Let me know in the comments.